hear?
I heard music that went good.
All right.
Just like the emotion of the music went good.
All right. So you can feel like there's emotion to the music, just like there's a pace to the editing. What else did you guys hear? Did you hear anything specifically? No. All right. Did you hear the heavy metal kind of music?
Yeah.
Did you also hear piano music? Two completely different kinds of music. So, why don't you talk about what you did?
Well, I added effects to the party music, because basically when I was given the footage, it was just, you could hear the guy's footsteps, and then at the party, it was just people talking. So like, I had to make it sound like a party, so I added like distancing and like a little bit of echo and stuff, like, you know, like the environment of the party, and then, you know, muffled it a little bit so you could still hear people talking and stuff. And then with the wheels, like that was just overdrop music where you could still hear them screaming, which added even more effect to the music. And
Yeah. When you watch it and you're thinking about how it sounds specifically, like I noticed how his screaming in that when he's in the long hallway, the hallway area of the mills.
Yeah.
It kind of like came out like a punchy moment.
Yeah.
So, like Ian said, there's this emotion that you can kind of sense when you're editing the video and also the audio. And then there's all kinds of things that you have to consider when you're editing the score to a movie, which is like the mood of your video. I mean, if we put different music while Wheels is walking up that hill, like what if we had some sort of slapstick, like, it would have a completely different feel, right? Like if you put like Saturday morning cartoon music in there, the music can completely shape the way that people experience the video. So when we were talking about making our first feature film, I thought about Dustin because we took a class together like 10 years ago. That was basically like the one that meets in this class, media. And back then, Dustin was recording like whole songs with a Pepsi can, making like tons and tons of different sounds with a Pepsi can, and editing it into like electronic music, which back in like 2002 took a lot more work than it would take now. And back then it was like, holy crap, what is this?
Oh, yeah.
So
I did that on MTV Music,
yeah.
What you got for me on Christmas the year before.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was like you know, Pro Tools, but in the video. You know, like you could like drag stuff like acid, but you could also like edit each note. So I just got right into editing each note. Like I never really dragged anything in there. And like these days still, like I just always use a piano roll for all the drum hits. I don't use any loops or anything, you know. Like I've gotten used to visualizing. Like if somebody just does a beat, I can just plug it in as they do it, pretty much, you know.
Yeah. So who here has had any experience editing music for a movie? Putting music in a movie? Yeah. So do you ever mess around with like a rock band at all?
Yeah.
And if you double click the MIDI files, you can see that there are all these like little bars underneath that you can move around and change up. Well, Dustin records each of those little bars as like a sound effect and then manipulates them to make it into something different. So
Everything has a pitch. Like if you did that, but recorded it with like a really intense microphone, that would have some, and then you go. And so
So
if
you
you
can
find
shift
out what that pitch is, you can make music with it. Using the same music theory, you'd use it for anything else.
Right.
Which later on in the soundtrack, I used all these harmonies from like this air thing that was going through a subway. Like there's just all these like, I don't know, there's like this big grate thing up in the ceiling, and the wind from the subway going through as it's leaving goes through them. And so there's all these like, and like all that stuff harmonizing with one of the songs, like it was just like a lot going on for the ears, and like it added to the eeriness, and that's the one that's on Sunset of Reality where she's up on the roof or on the bridge.
Yeah.
Like that sound clip was using a bunch of different stuff, and there's just like a lot of harmonies, and inside the spectrogram I could see what notes those are, so that helps me to like either match them or make another interval out of it.
Awesome. Yeah, like you went to the subway station with a microphone and a sound recording device.
Yeah.
Figured out where to put the microphone to capture that sound.
Yeah, that was a pain in the like, but you know, because basically I was recording wind, and so I needed to like put a whole bunch of stuff over the mic in order to get the wind.
We actually had to go get a special thing for the mic called the cat, right?
Yeah. The dead kitten thing.
Dead
like,
kitten,
there's
yeah.
a dead
Dead
cat,
kitten.
which is big, and then from my microphone, which is just a small condenser mic. Like if you're holding it over the head, it's a dead kitten, cat, which you guys probably use.
There actually is one right next door.
Yeah.
It's meant to muffle wind so that you hear the stuff besides.
I think you're the one that told me to get that, because I was just like, dude, I've never like recorded out, you know, like, you know, if I'm recording a Pepsi can, it's in the studio, you know, it's like whatever. But that's like, I'm recording the exact thing that I'm trying to take away, so it's like.
It's weird when you're trying to capture wind too, because you put a microphone, which has this, plastic grating over the thing that actually captures the sound. Instead of capturing the sound that you want to hear, it captures the sound against that plastic grating. So that's why you need that dead cat, because it interferes with the wind bouncing off of the plastic. So, I mean, this movie, all that went into it is there's some crazy stuff. I sent Dustin our first version of the script.
The script, I was writing notes right away. Like, I was hearing a lot of music and a lot of tones. Like for me, like the high school experience, like, not so much exactly like this, but I felt a lot like this Courtney chick, just because there's just so much attention on all these things that are just like very personal. You know, when like someone's just trying to go to school, like the work which is the focus, is like just so far up in the pile of what everybody's thinking about stuff. Everybody's thinking about the other student or the teacher or whatever, and it's just like, it's this big like battlefield where you're just there to learn something, you know, or whatever, and it's like there's so much other garbage going through that you gotta like plow through, you know. And so like I was just, the music of all that is just all the stress that she's going through, on top of also the drinking thing and the party, like, you know, that's adding even more garbage onto the whole thing. So it's like, you know, I was hearing a lot of music because I was feeling a lot of tension, and I think all the music helps it be even more uncomfortable and stuff. And so, you know, there's not really a whole lot of like really happy tunes going on there, because like, you know, it's just like, you know, it's a very thoughtful movie where you're thinking about a lot of stuff, and it's music for thinking, and it's music for like being uncomfortable and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but it sounds alright in the car too, you know?
Yeah, it does.
Damn you, Bartlett.
So, we're just about, we're putting together our first draft of the script right now. It's like 45 pages, something like that. 47 pages right now. And we're shooting for around 90. There's a lot that we're going to be expanding on, but if we were going to we probably should start thinking about what the music is going to be like to accompany this movie that we're making. It's probably going to be a lot different from the music that was in Chances. But there's also like, I would say each character has at least a couple of heavy scenes in this movie. And it's not like, you know, your friend dies or something really deep like that. But there's a lot of like character growth and some sort of quiet scenes where there's not a lot of dialogue, but you can tell that things are going on with these characters. So in those scenes, we're going to want to think about making this kind of music that you heard in Chances and that Dustin's talking about. And then there's another sort of different dynamic in this movie. There's some zany adventure kind of scenes, which might be a little bit more like Beer on Fire was.
Yeah.
So, you guys, you have any questions or anything? What do you think about, what do you think goes into making that? They've been staring at computers all day, writing scripts, so. This one?
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
That's me scraping. No, it's a guitar with a lot of distortion, a lot of reverb. I'm either just scraping it with the pick way on the end, or it's like above the neck where it's on the headstock. Like I think I was like scraping that or something.
So, like, composing a score, in a sense, it's like writing songs and stuff, but it's also like coming up with weird noise that complements.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like I got a lot of inspiration. Like I tried to make some kind of similar sounds as you get in the Social Network, because like that was a very uncomfortable movie to watch as well. But it's also like exciting and all that. And so,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of like, I don't know. There's a lot of droning going on and stuff.
Definitely. The drones are like super important. Drones being like that white noise kind of stuff that fills the. A lot of times they'll start out really low and you won't even notice, but then as something intense happens on screen, they build in volume.
You know what that is? That's a Ryobi screwdriver, like with the pistol part, the trigger. I'm very like if you go all the way, you know, but like very gently, you get just a little sound. And to me, that's like sounds like a headache. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's like a powered screwdriver?
It's a power screwdriver with the trigger very gently pressed. And like the more you like gradually press it, it's like, you know, turning the volume up on a guitar, like playing a little bit harder, like then like the note goes up and pitch. It's like a car kind of, you know, the RPM of it, you know.
It's awesome.
And then then I added a whole bunch of effects to it too. Because the actual noise itself was a lot harder to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a screwdriver. You can hear it now, like now that you listen to it. Before that, it's just like,
So this is like, it's like science experiment stuff.
yeah, very much, very much. And there's a lot more of this in film soundtracks, which is what excites me, because there's a lot more rules with like, you know, pop music or something. There's a lot of stuff you can't do, but if you pick up like a Hans Zimmer soundtrack or a Danny Elfman, like, they're like, there's a lot of older rules that are just like way more, you could do whatever, you know, because whatever you do, once you like, you could try a whole bunch of different songs and not know what to expect, and then like the human experience of seeing the two things sync together, that's like boom. So the more you have, the better, because it's more like just throwing on a different coat of paint until you got the right color. Like this scene would be completely different without those chords in the background.
Yeah, those
It's like a
slow
washing
chords.
kind of, yeah.
And then something else that you do really well is we collected all these different songs that like local and unsigned artists wrote and donated for us to use in the movie. So Dustin like weaves those into the score of the movie pretty flawlessly too.
Scare that stupid pig.
And another thing, thank goodness for having a score and someone who's dedicated to it. Because there are a lot of inconsistencies in the audio levels from using the shotgun mic that they just go away when you put an awesome score behind them, you know? There's like maybe a little bit of buzz or something.
Oh yeah, that happens inside the music too. Like you can have once you, the more layers you got, the better. Because if there was any sort of error, you know, or like a noise or something, sometimes that adds to it. You know, like on an audio tape or something. You know, or
Yeah.
vinyl.
You hear something really low pitched in the background.
The only reason that I had to see you is to congratulate you on being named Student of the Month.
And it's about to kick into.
Yeah, the screwdriver comes back in, I think.
That's fine. Courtney?
Sean
Yeah,
Sullivan. He's going to come back
I can see
and work with us again.
I'll tell you what.
So you gonna be the principal?
You think about
No,
it. And I
I'm
was
going to have him be
thinking
one of the free-range parents.
That's the screwdriver right there. The same sound.
That's awesome. Like I would never know how to get that sound. And it's the sound that you want for this. It's not the sound that you want to listen to, but if you want tension in a movie,
Oh, yeah.
you need that sound.
You know, that's another thing too. If there's like dark music or like movie stuff, like if you listen to a lot of horror stuff, like it fits the stuff. But then like if you listen to it by itself, it's a lot of like really out of tune stuff, or like really random stuff. Like you know, a lot of old horror movies. Like if you just go down on a piano and just hit random notes, like. That's it's weird, but then you watch it with the scene and it's like, oh man, that is like really tense because like the notes are not making sense and what's going on there is like the two of them together is crazy.
Yeah, and it sort of defies that expectation you have that music makes sense.
Yeah, because it's still playing games with your mind, you know, and it also works at the end of a movie. If it's a really bad movie, they play this real awesome, happy song. You're like, dude, that movie was awesome. You know, just at the credits, like, you know, you could do the exact opposite, you know, because, like, let's say the scene's not actually that scary. If you add that tense music stuff, it'll make it scary,
Yeah.
you know.
There's Liz actually crying. All right.
itself, which I don't think I have a way to display it here right now. But the subway sound just by itself, it just sounds like 20 flutes just like all on one pitch and fluctuating which one's playing at the same time, and then all of them playing together. It's just crazy, but like, I don't know, it sounds beautiful as well as eerie, as well as like mysterious, and then it all just gently dies away as the subway's at the next stop, and like.
So, you guys are all part of the team that's gonna be responsible for thinking about this stuff. If you walk by something and it's a sound that must make it into our movie, remember it. Remember where you heard it, what the conditions were.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we can try to capture it. Because we're gonna have to do some of that mad scientists laboratory experimenting. And maybe Dustin will be available for consultation.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. So, we've got, what do we have left to do today, guys?
I think just write more of the script.
A little bit more writing to do. Should get you on a computer and you can sort of poke around at it.